This is the image of manhood that I grew up with. This is actually something that we all have experience with, absence or deficiency. I'm here to tell you that manhood in our culture is the reason why society is the way it is. This is actually a picture of my grandfather, but I wouldn't know that because my grandfather died when my father was 7 years old because of alcoholism and drug abuse. And why is this picture so effective to me today? That's because that manhood and the men in our society have lasting impressions. And so although I've never met this man, he still affects me and I think about it all the time. And so what I'm here to say is that everyone here is affected by the lack of male accountability in our culture. Everyone here has seen that either personally in your family or with your friends, or you can just see it on TV or any given opportunity. And so by showing interest in the future of men in our society, we can make a difference. This is Gregory, and Gregory is the one who introduced this problem to me. Gregory is a 7-year-old who's now 9 years old. When I met him, he had just transferred to a new foster home because his father left him and his 9 brothers and sisters alone in the street. Now, Gregory didn't say one word to me that entire week, but he taught me more about what it means to be a man than anyone else in my entire life. That's because he showed me what is missing. And so by looking at our society, by looking at our generation, and by looking at you, we can make a difference and we can make a change. Because I have been affected by this, and so have you. And so by starting this society, we can see that society has been suffering with shortcomings of manhood in everyday life. We can start by looking at society's low standards that they have set for men. A statistic recently come out that says that graduation rates for men have been sinking below women and just below in the first time in many years. The fact that women are continuing to graduate, not at an excessively high rate, but men are sinking below that now for the first time ever. I'm not saying anything against women in this aspect. I'm saying that there's a lack of male accountability and male drivenness in this aspect. And so where is this motivation going? We're all motivated to do something. We all have a motivation in our life, but where is that going when it's not towards our education and towards our goals and towards our careers? Eric Mason's book, Manhood Restored, notices this and notices that while graduation rates have been sinking, crime rates have been rising. And not just ordinary crime rates, not just murder, not just theft, not just burglary, but men and crime has become more unique and different and has diversified because of that. And so it seems as though while graduation rates are sinking, creativity is being put in how to best show yourself and how to increase your credibility as a criminal. And so today, although we don't see as many people exceeding in their field in terms of education or in terms of the business field, people are exceeding in murder. People are exceeding in burglary. I need to ask the questions, are we raising underachieving men? Because some say that society is to blame for these failures. Some say that the society itself has their expectation for men much lower than they have for women. And I know that a lot of you would agree with that. Women are expected to be smart, they're expected to be funny, they're expected to be beautiful, they're expected to have the whole package and have it all put together. Men do not have that same expectation. Kurt Faust blames the society's low standards for allowing for men to sink behind and be congratulated for sinking behind. Now, by getting a degree or by getting a trophy at the end of the day, maybe unlocking a new achievement, we are congratulated for being mediocre. Richard Conniff says that men have become the necessary evil in society. And that society looks at the problems of the economy, looks at the problems of the nation, and says men are to blame for this issue. Why is that? I'm here to tell you that it's not that specific. we can't exactly narrow it down to men as a whole. When we look at the next generation, we can see that the next generation is the only group that can change this aspect. We know that education is crucial in our development, but how is it crucial in this area? Faust suggests that we need to remodel what we look about manhood, what we look at how we address these problems. We need to do that at all levels of education. From early childhood development through senior living, all levels need to be educated at this problem, because it's not just a problem for our generation. It's not just the X generation or the Y generation or the baby boomers. It's everyone. Everyone is affected by this, and everyone can make a difference in that. I suggest personally a college front, because college is a unique experience where individuals are accessible to all generations. The average college student has access to the professional world, but also has access to the developmental world. That this peak spot in the middle where they have the most influence and they're not using it correctly. You can look at this room. Concordia is infamous for having this ratio, this golden sweet spot of having more women than men. And a lot of times we joke about it and say, oh, it's great because there's a large dating pool or whatever it may be. But I would like to suggest that the fact that there isn't an equal division of men and women at the school is because there's a lack of accountability in our culture. And Concordia has some things in place to increase that accountability, and a lot of men in our society don't like that. Look at the finalists here. I am one male and there's 4 female finalists, and the female finalists are incredible women, and I am not coming at this in a feminist approach. I'm not here to say that I am a feminist. I'm not here to say that I'm not a feminist. What I'm here to say is that if there's an increase of accountability in men, feminism shouldn't have existed. Because our next generation needs to take responsibility for its actions. Aniti finds that the economy is a direct reflection of the lack of accountability. We all have been impacted by the decline in the economy in one way or the other. A lot of people say that this is just our society going downhill, or it's our standards. But Aniti says that this is because there's a lack of accountability in men's leadership. That we are no longer being held to the standard of exceeding our expectations, and that we are now being content with being below average. James Dwyer, with Relevant Magazine, looks at the way that men are portrayed in popular culture, and he asks the question, why are men too manly? And this is something that may strike a chord with you, because in our society, we see images of these heroes. We see images of these sports stars. We see images of these cowboys out in the West, and these people who are rugged and promiscuous, and who are muscular and who have everything figured out, and who get things handed to them and go in and take what they want and don't ask questions. And this is the image that we are presented. We don't have the image of the person or the man who is accountable towards his actions, who reaches his goals, who provides for his family. Nobody wants to see a movie about a good father who provides for his family and goes to work every day and tries hard. Nobody wants to see a family about someone who's been there the whole time. That's not what we're drawn to as a culture. But I'm here to tell you today that you can make a difference. And so to first make a difference, you need to understand the problem. And I didn't come up with this problem by myself, because I am a part of the problem. I don't know if you noticed, but I am also a male. And so I am a part of the problem itself. And so the first thing to do is to communicate with your elders. Other cultures excel in this fact, excel in the fact of looking to your elders and asking them for advice, but we are the internal generation. We're asking ourselves what's going on, and obviously we can't create the solution by ourselves. So we need to communicate with those, because when we communicate with our parents, with our grandparents, with our teachers, with the professors, with our pastors, when we do that, we can see where they have recognized the problem. It's simple math. They've had more years on this earth, and they can understand things at a broader perspective. Because we know that personality is a trait that's inherited. You can call call it nurture or nature, no matter how you look at it, you know that you're affected by your parents. We also don't want history to repeat itself. The only way that you can prevent history from repeating itself is knowing history. And so after you know yourself better, you can communicate with your peers. This is the thing that nobody likes to do, no matter what it is. We all are up here, we're being persuaded to do things, but we all stop here. The great thing about this topic is that you can do this without being uncomfortable. You can do this in just normal conversation by noticing things around you, noticing that things are not the way that it should be. By noticing in your friend groups or in your relationships that things are not right, that men or boys are getting away with things that they shouldn't, and by speaking up, that's the simplest way to make a change. By encouraging your peers to excel, by holding them to standards and then approaching them when they do not meet those standards, you can make a difference. Accountability is one of the most difficult things because we don't know how to do it. But it starts with you. And so we've looked at society, we've recognized that there's a problem. We know that the next generation is the only one that can make a change. Oops, gone too far. And we know that you are the one who can start today. And so by showing interest and concern in our future, by showing interest and concern in this problem, and by showing interest and concern in your peers, you can make a difference. And if you make a difference in one person, you can make a difference in your future. And so I recognize that I'm a part of the problem. I recognize that I've been victimized by the problem. But I also recognize that I'm part of the solution. What will you do to protect your future? Thank you.